Hello everyone, welcome to Bharat Kranti channel. Let us see how to read today's The Hindu newspaper dated 26th January 2026. So this is the first page, and if I find any article that is relevant to prelims or mains, I will stop and explain, otherwise I will move on. So in this page I am not seeing anything. So here the article at the bottom, Nation honors 131 personalities with Padma Awards. This you can link to prelims. This is not much relevant to mains, but this you can link to prelims because there are something called civilian awards and military awards or gallantry awards. So under civilian awards we have Bharat Ratna and Padma Awards. Padma Awards are further divided into Padma Vibhushan, the highest, after Bharat Ratna, Padma Bhushan and Padma Shri. Okay, in the order. And we have military orders. There are 6 military awards, and in these military awards there are some wartime awards and there are peacetime awards. So wartime awards are Veer Chakra, Mahavir Chakra and Paramveer Chakra, and peacetime awards are Sauri Chakra, Kirti Chakra, Ashok Chakra, as you can see here. Okay, so if you want to read more about the prelims, focus here like what is Bharat Ratna, what are the rules, what is the limit, who will give these awards, Bharat Ratna award or Padma awards or gallantry awards. You can focus on who will give these awards and who will select the awardees. What is the limit, is there any limit, etc. Okay, you can focus from that perspective. Can it be awarded posthumously or not? That means after the death of the person or not. Okay, you focus on that. Okay, there is another article in later page that astronaut Shubhanshu Shukla received this Ashoka Chakra. Okay, peacetime gallantry award. Okay, moving on till I see next article. So there is one article here. The news is not important. Okay, in most cases the news particular thing coming in the paper is not important. The issue behind the news becomes very important. So here this particular news you don't need to read. You don't have to read this. But understand, recently Kerala government has passed something called Malayalam language bill. And this bill is currently pending for the approval of the governor. Okay, so this bill becomes important because it touches some sensitive aspects of Indian constitution and the very nature of Indian society. Like we are a diverse society having different languages. So whenever there is imposition of Hindi on southern and eastern states, there is opposition. Now this is a state issue having all India ramifications. So this Kerala government has passed something called Malayalam language bill, and it has made Malayalam as the sole primary official language in that state. It has given some exemptions to some minorities, but still there is some argument that still this bill largely violates many minority rights given by the constitution. So please read this. I am not explaining every article in detail. I am only telling you here how to read this. Okay. So this article talks about Malayalam language bill. Anyone who did not read this Malayalam language bill till now, you take this opportunity, pause the video and read this text on the screen. Okay. You can link this bill to the constitutional articles of 29, 30 and 350A. So let's see the prelims focus. So from prelims perspective, you can focus on the Malayalam language bill because it is in news, current events of national importance. I am giving you as per the syllabus, okay, as per the official syllabus. And when it comes to polity, we have official language provisions in the constitution. Please read those. And also minority rights, okay, cultural and educational rights of minorities, article 29 and 30. There is article 350A in polity in constitution, okay, which facilitates for instruction in mother tongue at primary stage. Okay, power of state legislature and language policy. How competent is Kerala government to make this policy, particular policy, and what is the role of the governor in assent to state bills, because these kind of bills are not getting approval from the governors who are appointed by the union government. So you can see a clash between union and state here also. And mains perspective, salient features of Indian society, diversity of India, because India is having many languages. Kerala itself is having many languages. Of course, majority population is Malayalam mother tongue. Okay, but there are minorities who speak Kannada, who speak Tamil, etc., who speak Tulu language, etc. So the diversity of India should be a perspective for this article. Okay, what happens to the rights of the minorities, what happens to the culture of the minorities, etc. Coming to GS paper 2 polity. Now we have Indian Constitution fundamental rights. In the fundamental rights section, minority rights, article 29 and 30 are fundamental rights guaranteed to the minorities. So is this bill violating any kind of fundamental right? Because if it is violating fundamental right, court will struck it down. Okay, and there are also some language related constitutional safeguards like 350A we have seen. So from mains perspective, these becomes important in addition to the prelims. So everywhere when I say mains, it is already including things we have discussed in prelims, because anything that can be asked in prelims can be useful in mains answer writing, or it can be directly asked in mains. Okay, similarly vice versa, anything that can be asked in mains actually can be asked in prelims. It is just limited by the creativity of the paper setter. But still, based on the past PYQ trends, I am saying this is the important areas for prelims, this is the important area for mains. But whatever you read for mains will also be useful in prelims. Whatever you read for prelims will also be useful for mains. Okay. So moving on. Till I find a relevant article, I will keep moving on. Okay. So in this page, there is an article. It's not that much, article itself is not important. Okay. It's just a former Supreme Court judge making some remarks. But the themes discussed here, the key themes discussed in this article are very much relevant to the contemporary times. Literally all the important debates happening in Indian polity, he has summarized in this article, okay, in his speech. So this article is touching various important themes. You don't have to even read this article, read this particular news article. Just try to understand these themes, because these themes are very important for upcoming prelims and mains, because the debate keeps on happening for past many months in India. So constitutional accountability of autonomous institutions, okay, like Election Commission of India, there were many allegations on Election Commission of India, there were many allegations on many judges, okay, many judges are giving controversial statements, okay, and governor's conduct is coming under question, okay. There are many articles on governor's role today, because in many states there is a clear conflict between governor and that particular state government. State government is elected, governor is not elected, he is appointed by union government. But what we are seeing today, if there is a different party in power at state level which is different from the union level, in union level there is BJP government, if there is any non-BJP government in any state at state level, we are seeing a friction between governor and that particular state government in that particular state, whether it is Tamil Nadu or Kerala or Karnataka, etc., or Bengal. So there is so much friction happening between governor and state government on various issues. Like now we have seen in Kerala there is some pending of assent to bills. Then there is a issue of speech. Governors are not giving speeches in the assemblies. They are supposed to give. They are mandated to give as per constitution, but they are not giving it. We will see. There is an article in later slides. Okay. So governors' conduct and misuse of discretionary powers coming into question, and whatever governors do, state governments cannot impeach them. Union legislature can impeach the president. Central government, central legislature can impeach the president, but state legislature cannot impeach the governor. So in that context, there are some committee recommendations also, like Sarkari and Punchi commissions, they become important, okay, federal relations. So he is also talking about judicial appointment transfers, because recently judicial transfers also came into controversy. Okay, all of you must be well aware that there is a special intensive revision going throughout the country by Election Commission, and it is becoming very controversial. So he is also mentioning about that. Anyone who does not know this, what is this special intensive revision, please do a recap here. Okay, just do some bit of research here to understand it. Okay, as I told you, it also touches the federal tensions caused by central state fiction. So this is how we have to read it. The particular news does not become important, but the issues behind the news, those are the ones actually being asked in the exam. Okay, so how this is important? All of the themes discussed here are actually more important to mains. Okay, this particular issue does not have a prelims level content. So mostly the mains relevant content is here. So he is talking about separation of powers between various organs. Separation of powers between, he is talking in two ways. One is separation of powers between executive and judiciary. The government, legislature and judiciary. This is one dimension of separation of powers. This is called horizontal separation of power. Then there is another kind of separation of power, which is vertical separation of power between union government and state government. We are seeing the friction between governor who is appointed by union government and state government. Okay, so that is vertical distribution of power. And appointment to constitutional posts like governor, election commission of India, these are becoming disputed. Okay, issues and challenges pertaining to federal structure. Federal means at different levels. Governments at different levels. Government at union level and governor appointed by the union government and state government. These are in discussion. Okay, so federal structure. Important aspects of governance, accountability and institutional checks, etc. Like to whom these people are accountable. Like governor representing the state executive, but he is not accountable to the people of that state. Judges are giving some controversial judgments, but they are accountable to no one. Okay, so these kind of debates are happening. Then comes a ethical perspective also. Ethics in governance, accountability. Accountability is given in both GS paper 2 and GS paper 4. Okay, ethical concerns and dilemmas in public institutions. Okay, so these are direct syllabus key lines from the syllabus. Okay, integrity and constitutional morality. So moving on to the next page, there is this editorial on recent actions by USA under its presidency of Donald Trump. So Donald Trump as president, USA is doing many colonizer type of activities. So what is colonization? Colonization is like Britishers have occupied India a few years back, 200 years back. So all European powers have colonized throughout the world, many countries. They have divided Africa, they have occupied USA, etc., etc. This is called colonization. So now we thought colonization has finished and all the countries in the world are independent countries. But here is USA. This next article also, the Donner Doctrine, Venezuela's Fragile Pragmatism, this is very relevant to this editorial. Both the articles you are seeing in the video right now are related. They are talking about particular US actions in recent times. So recently, US has conducted a special military operation in the country of Venezuela and literally kidnapped the president of Venezuela because it wants to install a group of people who are favorable to it. USA wants Venezuelan oil, etc. So US is taking many actions. Then Donald Trump is demanding Greenland. And in this background, China and Russia, everyone thought China and Russia are enemies of USA. If USA crossing any limit, USA is misbehaving with any country, China or Russia will come to the support of that particular country. In fact, the Venezuela president had this courage. He repeatedly challenged USA, assuming that China and Russia comes into his support. But when US has kidnapped this Nicolas Maduro, the president of Venezuela, China and Russia did nothing actually. So this article, this is a small editorial, but it is discussing many themes. This is particular editorial I suggest you to read. This is very important. And all of these themes are very important. So it is talking about neo-colonialism. So how this colonialism coming into present world in new forms. Previously it was political. Britishers are ruling throughout India. They are in active control. But right now it is in economic form. Okay, economic colonialism. It is for resources, oil or Greenland, critical minerals, etc. Okay, so it is talking about contemporary geopolitics, and this article is discussing about Arctic area. So why Trump wants Greenland? Because the ice in this Arctic zone is melting. Now it is opening new sea routes. Traditionally there were no sea routes through North Pole, but because this Arctic ice is melting because of climate change, now it is creating new sea routes which are very important, and also they are having minerals. Now all the minerals submerged under ice, whether it is Greenland or in North Pole, all the minerals which are till now hidden under the ice, now they are becoming open. Now access is available. So that is why all the countries are competing for strategic domination in this northern pole region, okay, Arctic region. Climate change opening new trade routes and geopolitical competition, Greenland strategic value, minerals it is having, okay, its location, etc. Then this great power rivalry between US and China. Why now US wants Greenland? Because China is trying to gain some strategic power in this Greenland by getting mineral extraction contracts in Greenland, by becoming more close to Denmark and Greenland. China is trying to do this. So that is why US is right now countering it. But this editor says, through these actions actually US is eliminating. It is pushing countries like India towards China. Till now all the countries who are away from China in support of USA, now they are becoming uncomfortable and they are moving towards China. Okay, and there is tension between self-determination of indigenous peoples and great power interests. Like when USA had some interest, but it had no right to go into another country like Venezuela, kidnap its president, and to arm twist the remaining people, to blackmail the remaining people. If you don't listen to us, we will throw out your regime. So this is literal blackmailing the native people, the Venezuelans. They are taking away their power of self-determination. Same with Greenland or in this Arctic region, not just USA, all the great powers, Russia or China or any country who is trying for domination in this Arctic region. There are some native people in this region. Okay, they are called Inuits. Okay, INUITS. Like traditionally they were used to call Eskimos, but it was a derogatory term, so there was a new term. Okay. So these indigenous people voices are not heard. USA wants Greenland, it is trying to take over it. Okay, Russia wants some share in this Arctic area and it is trying to take over it. Okay, so there is a tension between self-determination of indigenous people and great power interest. Next is erosion of rules-based international order. So no one is caring about United Nations Security Council, etc. Whatever any rich country or powerful country wants to do, they are doing. Okay, Russia has invaded Ukraine. USA has kidnapped the president of Venezuela. So everyone, all the powerful countries are doing whatever they want. They are not caring for international rules or orders. Okay, so where should we focus on prelims? So World Economic Forum, why this particular editorial is in news? Because recently there was a event of World Economic Forum in Switzerland. So all the presidents of important countries and many businessmen, every year they meet at this place in the Davos World Economic Forum meet, and they discuss business plans actually. But in that particular meeting, Donald Trump has made some comments which became controversial. So in that context, this news is coming. So that is why this you should know what is World Economic Forum. For prelims, it is very important. You should know what is Northern Sea Route, what are the Arctic geopolitics going around, what you see the location of Arctic, okay, total North Pole and the islands surrounding it, okay. Important features of this location, etc. Okay. So niche shipping routes due to climate change. International relations, US-China strategic rivalry. Okay, it is going on. You should also focus on impact on India. How is India gaining or losing in this? Okay. Rare earth minerals and global supply chains. Whatever the things going on in the world right now, it is very closely linked to critical minerals and something called rare earth minerals. Okay. So try to understand that perspective also. I am giving you all the dimensions you should focus upon. Okay, all the things you should add to your notes or in your preparation. Without all these things, if this news is coming, all of these dimensions becomes important for prelims and mains. That's what I'm telling you. Indigenous bodies, Inuit Circumpolar Council. So all of these native people in this Arctic region, they have formed something called Inuit Circumpolar Council. So you should know about it. Okay, go and Google and read or any read from any blog or something. Okay, the next article, it is also let us see the mains syllabus linkage of the same editorial. So there in GS paper 1 you will see something called political philosophies and their impact on society. So political philosophies, okay, capitalism, communism, etc. So neo-colonialism is seen as a new political philosophy because now Donald Trump is actively advocating for it. So you should read its impact on society under this GS paper 1. Salient features of world physical geography, because this Arctic region, all these ice caps melting, etc., everything is in use. So you should be ready for a question. When question comes from this area, it should not be a surprise for you in GS paper 1. Okay. There is direct syllabus line GS paper 1, changes in critical geographical features. Okay. Now coming to GS paper 2, those bilateral, regional and global groupings and agreements affecting India's interest, okay, you should focus upon, because there is something called Arctic Council, okay. Effect of policies and politics of developed countries affecting India's interest. So politics of developed countries like USA, whatever USA is trying right now, you should understand the impact on India's interest. Like now USA is putting sanctions on Venezuela's oil. India cannot buy Venezuela's oil. So there is some impact. Now rules-based international order is slowly eroding. That's what we are discussing. Now in GS paper 3, climate change and its geopolitical implications. So climate change is happening. It is resulting in new type of geopolitics. It is touching all three papers, paper 1, paper 2, paper 3. Okay. And impact on global trade routes. GS paper 4, this is very important dimension. Ethical issues and international relations. See this particular news. One small tiny editorial, but it is relevant to all 4 papers and for prelims. That is why I am saying, don't be deceived. A large article does not mean it is more important to the exam. So our intent through this video is to tell the new aspirants, or for those people who have not cleared prelims and mains till now, to make them understand how to read, how to use current affairs in your preparation. So you can add the content given in this editorial to your notes in all these dimensions, wherever it is relevant. The notes you are making, or you should definitely read these dimensions to clear prelims also, okay. So as I told you, this next article is also very closely linked to this. So there is something called Monroe Doctrine. There was a past president of USA. The policies he followed came to be known as Monroe Doctrine. Now US Donald Trump is implementing the same thing with his own modifications. So Monroe Doctrine becoming something called Donroe Doctrine. Okay, so that's what this Donroe Doctrine. If Donroe Doctrine comes in prelims, you should know what it is. Okay. So same thing, whatever is discussion we have discussed in the previous editorial, that particular Venezuelan country aspect, here it is discussed, like how literally America is blackmailing the current government of Venezuela. They have surrounded the country, they have imposed these sanctions on them, they are not allowing them to sell oil to any other countries. Only on the terms and conditions of USA, Venezuela can sell oil or make oil. Only people who are favoring America can be in power. Anyone who is not in favor with America, they will be removed from power. Okay, these kind of things they are doing, and Venezuela politicians have no choice but to adapt to this new reality. Okay, so that is what discussed in this article. Okay, and this particular incident showed the limitations of multipolarism, because everyone thought Russia and China can effectively counter USA. So some countries are moving away from USA towards China and Russia. Now it will make them rethink, because China and Russia did nothing when USA has kidnapped the president of the Venezuela. Okay, so this is the key theme. So all the prelims and mains focus same as the previous article. Whatever we have discussed in the previous article, more or less same themes come here. Then there is an article editorial on this opinion on this India-UAE ties. Actually, recently UAE president has visited India. So in that context, this opinion has come. But there is no significant event happened. Okay, this is general one. UAE came to India, so they have had a discussion and they have decided to go forward like brothers in some aspects, like nuclear energy, etc., in energy sector, etc. So the importance of India-UAE ties, here it was discussed. This is more static than dynamic. Okay, so in your notes, in international relations, we will have this part of relations with every country. India, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, India, China, we have this section. So in that you add India-UAE ties and add this content given here under that particular heading. Okay, I am not discussing here because there is no significant issue. Okay, let us discuss only significant developments. But for anyone who wants some content, here is the summary I have given. What are the themes discussed in this article? Next comes the article, the relevance of the prelims. So there are some terms discussed here. There are some agreements, organizations, okay, discussed in this particular article. So those becomes relevant to prelims. So anyone who does not know what is Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, anyone who does not know what is Gulf Cooperation Council, India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor, just Google right now and get a basic understanding. Okay, add to your notes. Then understand there are some investment models. Investment models is in GS paper 3 in mains. So what is FDI, etc. You should know. There is something called National Investment and Infrastructure Fund for India, NIIF. You should know it. There is something called GIFT City in Gujarat. You should know it. Okay. So, and there are something new type of nuclear energy coming in the form of small modular reactors. Now it is the trending one in nuclear energy. So if you don't know what is small modular reactors, just read it, compare them with the traditional nuclear reactors. Okay. So this is the linkage with the main syllabus. Okay. The agreements involving India. So India and UAE are making bilateral agreement here. And the politics of Gulf Cooperation Council. There is something called Gulf Cooperation Council, and there are some Gulf countries who are members of it, and they are having their own internal politics, and the impact on India shall be read under this heading. Okay. Then there is this opinion in the next page. It is also no particular linkage in the current times. It is not based on current events. It's just a good opinion. So it is talking about what should be our next goal in education? Bigger schools, better futures. So till now, we have focused on improving access. India was a poor country. India is having low literacy. So over the years, since independence, we have focused on providing access to education for everyone. Right now, the enrollment rates are 95%, 97%, and some states are having like Kerala and Mizoram, etc. They are 100% literate states right now. So this article says, okay, India, you have done enough. You have achieved like a good access to education for everyone. Now it is time to move to next level by increasing the quality, focus on quality. Now you construct big schools having all the infrastructure that is necessary for high quality education. And we have something called National Education Policy 2020, and we have some goals under it. Like we have some goals for 2030. This is how I want school education by 2030. This is how I want higher education by 2035, etc. So all these goals, these are author is discussing how to meet those goals. Okay, this you can link to GS paper 2, issues relating to development and management of social sector and education. Okay, education is a part of social sector. Okay, and government policies and interventions in various sectors. Here the sector is education. Okay, so you can pause and read it. And there is another article. So in a few days, next 3-4 days, we will get the Union Budget 26 and 27. So for the past few days, we are seeing many articles on how our budget should be. Actually, it is like too early, because once we see the budget, then we can discuss the limitations and positives and negatives of it. Before budget discussion is kind of not very beneficial for us. But anyway, let me tell you the summary. This article is discussing that one of the themes next budget should focus upon, it is freeing women's time. Right now, women are wasting so much time in some kind of unproductive activities. So how to empower women by freeing them from regular burden work, etc. are discussed here. Okay, so you can link this to GS paper 2 and GS paper 3. Anyone wants to read, they pause the video and read, please. And moving to the next page. So here we are having the issues surrounding governor's address. So as I told you, union government appoints governors, and in some states there is a friction between governor and state government. They are not going together. Governor is having a fight with the state government. So let us see this closer. So we have articles 175 and 176, and they talk about address of the governor in state legislatures. So governor should speak in some occasions. In some occasions, it is discretion. Discretion of not the governor, discretion of the state executive, chief minister and council of ministers. In some occasions, it is mandatory. So you read these articles and get that information. Okay. But governors are not listening to council of ministers, as constitution is saying. Recently, Tamil Nadu governor has just read something and left the assembly itself. So he is not at all listening to this chief minister and his council of ministers. The same thing happened with the Karnataka governor also. So the author says governors are blatantly violating the constitution in this case. So this article talks about that. Okay. So article 176 talks about governor address to the house. You can read this gist. Okay. So this is happening in the opposition ruled states. So the underlying issue is the conflict. Okay. The underlying issue for conflicts has been politicization of the governor's post. So here the position of the governor is being politicized. Now there is a fight between union government and state government, but because they belong to different political parties, but it is being manifested as a fight between governor and state government. Okay. So for prelims, this article 175, 176, whatever discussed in the article becomes important. Role of governor, how he is just a nominal constitutional head. He has to act on the aid and advice of the council of the ministers. You can see where he can exercise his discretion and where he should not exercise his discretion. That is also becomes important. Now there are some motions. For prelims in this Lakshmikant polity, we will read some motions. Motion of thanks is one of the important motions. Okay, you read about that. Okay, you read about various motions and motion of thanks. Then in mains, you can link this to GS paper 2, Indian Constitution, because now the constitutional provisions we are discussing. And you can link this to the federal structures, issues and challenges in center-state relations. There are some Supreme Court judgments, case laws, giving precedence to what to do in this particular scenario, like Shamsher Singh versus State of Punjab, Nabam Rabia case, etc. So you can discuss this. In this article, you should read this article. In this article, these were discussed in detail. Then, because there are different type of frictions happening, in fact, many years back, some 20-30 years back, these two commissions, Sarkaria Commission and Poonchi Commission, they have given some recommendations on improving this central-state relations, central government-state government relations, and how governor's role can be improved further, how to lessen this friction between governor and state government, etc. They have given some recommendations, not all of them are implemented. So in this particular scenario, the recommendations on governor's role can become very important. Okay, even for prelims they can be asked directly, and for mains, if you use that in the question, it becomes very rich in the content. Moving to the next article. So there is no much relevant article here. There is one thing I want to say. There is this article, what the Anna Archive Spotify hack reveals about digital piracy. So there was a hacking incident on Spotify, okay, music platform. But here there is a important issue. Okay, there is something called Anna Archive. It is a Anna Archive. It is an online platform. It is actually a digital pirate type of thing. Okay, like there is a Iboma kind of thing in Andhra Pradesh, etc. So it is a pirate site. What they are doing, they are stealing data from researchers, many researchers, but only from those researchers who are not giving information for free. Many researchers publish and you have to pay some high fees for membership to gain access to that knowledge. So we are limiting knowledge to the rich people here. So this Anna Archive, which says it is doing for social justice, it is hacking that information and releasing it into the open platform, free for all. So, but the activity they are doing is digital piracy, illegal in many countries, but their goals are good. Their goals are social justice. Okay. So for prelims, you can see what is digital piracy, etc. And here the debate is copyright. They are releasing copyrighted content, restricted content into open forums. So copyright versus open access debate, you can see. You can link this to GS paper 4. Okay, ethics of means and ends. Their ends are good, but their means are not good. So I'm not seeing any article here. This Subhanshu Shukla, who flew to space, gets Ashok Chakra. This article we have discussed in the first page itself. Okay, Ashok Chakra is the highest form of civil military peacetime award. Okay, military peacetime award. So I think that's it for today. So we have discussed all the important articles for today. There is nothing important article left out. So whatever articles pointed out, you read those in the better way. So in the shortest time possible, we try to give you how to read the articles in the Hindu. Okay, because if I explain including the content, all the important articles and the content in the articles, it will take like 3 hours at least, because to read a paper properly, it will take at least 3 hours. Okay, so let us stop here. Please like, share and subscribe. Share it to your friends. Let's expand our community. Thank you.